On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC News,
where the news never stops. This is LBC News.
From Global's newsroom, it's 4 o'clock. This is Philip Chrysakos. Good afternoon. Here's the latest. A GP who sexually assaulted patients at his surgery in East London has been handed 3 life sentences. Manish Shah from Romford used the cases of celebrities including Angelina Jolie and Jade Goody to persuade patients to undergo intimate and unnecessary examinations. A British man is among 61 people who have been tested positive for coronavirus on a cruise ship quarantined off the coast of Japan. Here, 3 people have the virus, with reports the latest could have caught it in Singapore. Shamima Begum has lost the first stage of her legal challenge against the decision to revoke her British citizenship. She was one of 3 schoolgirls from East London who travelled to Syria to join Islamic State group in 2015. Ahead, LGBT charities say Philip Schofield is hugely powerful and courageous for announcing he's gay.
LBC News. Weather.
Expect the dry and sunny weather to continue through the afternoon, even if it is a little breezy. I'm Alex Taylor. I've got a full forecast in the next 15 minutes.
LBC News. Travel.
In London, in Wanstead, the Eastern Avenue has a lane blocked northbound at the George Green Tunnel. There's been an accident there involving 2 cars. The outside lane is blocked and it is queuing from the Lee interchange. In Hertfordshire, the M25, that's struggling clockwise from junction 18 at Chorleywood all the way around to the A41. That's after a car breakdown. The M4 in Berkshire, that's queuing for 2 miles, heading westbound from junction 13 at the A34. That's after an accident. And the M40 in Oxfordshire, that's taking very slow southbound between junction 10 at Brackley and 9 at Bicester, and that's after an accident and a lane closure. I'm Emma Bussey. Your next update is in 10 minutes here on LBC News.
This is LBC News.
Well, the time is 2 minutes past 4. Good afternoon. This is Philip Chrysakos. Thank you for your company. We start with our dominating story, that of a 50-year-old doctor who sexually assaulted 24 patients at his surgery in East London has been given 3 life sentences. Manish Shah from Romford was found guilty last autumn of 25 sexual offences against 6 victims. He was convicted of offences relating to 18 other patients at an earlier trial in 2018. He used celebrity cases like those of Angelina Jolie and Jade Goody as examples to frighten patients into unnecessary intimate health checks. Well, Alison Miller, who's represented one of those victims, has told LBC News she and the other victims in this case have been through a lot.
It's really hard to convey how much of a breach of trust this was. All my clients, and in fact all the women affected by this case, placed their trust, placed their total confidence in Dr. Shah and in what he was saying to them about the need for these examinations, intimate examinations. And they thought that he was performing those examinations because he was, there was a clinical reason for doing so, perhaps because that they might be developing a serious condition, or otherwise reassuring them that they were getting the best care. And it has been an enormous shock and something that is very difficult to process for my client, that was not the case. And it's really infected how she views medical professionals now.
3 minutes past 4.
This is LBC News.
With Philip Chrysakos, a man from the UK has tested positive for the coronavirus on a cruise ship. He's thought to have been on his honeymoon at the time off the coast of Japan. The Diamond Princess is in lockdown after 61 people on board contracted the virus. David Abel is among those confined to their cabins. He's told LBC News they're allowed out for some fresh air for 90 minutes a day.
When we do get released onto the deck, we have to wear face masks. And we've been given rubber gloves, not plastic, rubber gloves, not to have our skin touching handrails that others have used.
Well, let's get more on that cruise ship on lockdown and more from mainland China on this coronavirus story. Patrick Fook is LBC News correspondent in Hong Kong.
Because of this report of what's happening on the cruise boat that is now docked at the Kai Tak terminal right now, 3,600 people on board. This is a cruise boat that has been making several trips around the region since January 19th. On January 19th to January 24th, it made one particular voyage, and afterwards 8 mainland Chinese people were confirmed to have contracted the coronavirus. So now authorities here are really scrambling to try and contact anyone that's been on this boat known as the World Dream and several Hong Kong passengers in particular. And so there's a huge fear right now that a lot of people might have been exposed, and authorities actually are having quite a tough time trying to trace people. They don't have all the contact details. So there are a lot of fears that there could be a wider outbreak in Hong Kong. Experts have spoken about the possibility, the potential of an outbreak here on the scale of what we're seeing in Wuhan City.
That's Patrick Fook, LBC News correspondent in Hong Kong. More on that story continues at our website at the moment, lbcnews.co.uk, where you can read more about the death of a doctor who was reprimanded for giving early warnings about coronavirus. It's ignited an online movement of anger directed at the Chinese government. That at our website, lbcnews.co.uk, and we'll be covering that in about 20 minutes' time.
Where the news never stops. LBC News.
Shamima Begum, one of 3 East London schoolgirls who travelled to Syria to join so-called Islamic State group, has lost the first stage of her fight to reclaim her British citizenship. Her lawyers continue to argue it was unlawful to her to be left stateless, but former Home Secretary Sajid Javid said at the time her heritage allows her to live in Bangladesh, while the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has given a reaction to LBC News.
I'm not aware, only the courts are, of what the national security grounds are, but it's really important that justice occurs, and justice is seen to occur as well.
Do you think justice is happening in this case?
Well, let's wait and see. I mean, I suspect, whoever was going to lose this case was going to appeal. I think it's really difficult for most, fair-minded Londoners to understand how, just by the quirk of the fact that your ethnic origin means you've got the possibility of applying for a passport in another country, you can have your nationality removed. It seems harsh. It seems those who maybe of Anglo-Saxon stock have a different level and criteria than those of us who are from an ethnic minority or whose family come from a different part of the world. My understanding is this woman hasn't been to Bangladesh, or if she did, it was many, many years ago when she was a baby. If she was, sent back to Bangladesh, she wouldn't know the language or the people or what to do. And that's what Londoners I speak to don't seem to understand.
Here's a story that's trending at our website right now, lbcnews.co.uk, that of Philip Schofield having come out as gay. In a post on his Instagram this morning, he said he's had some very dark moments, to quote his words, but now he's getting support from his wife and daughters. Well, earlier this morning, he spoke about coming out with Holly Willoughby on their ITV show this morning. This is what Philip Schofield had to say.
The thing is that you know this has been bothering me for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I think everybody does these things at their own speed, at their own time, when they feel the time is right. And there's no question that it has, in recent times, consumed my head.
Yeah.
And has become an issue in my head. And so I got to the stage where I thought, we sit here every day, and I'm over there, and some amazingly brave, incredible person is sitting here, and I'm listening to their story and thinking, oh my God, you're so brave, oh my God, you're so brave. And I'm thinking, I have to be that person. I have to be that person.
Philip Schofield speaking to Holly Willoughby on their ITV show this morning, having come out as gay. You can see more on that physically as the video from that programme at our website, lbcnews.co.uk. lbcnews.co.uk is where you need to head to for more on that story. Let's check in on some other stories making headlines around the corner and around the world. Forecasters are warning the storm that's on the way this weekend is likely to be the most intense to hit the United Kingdom since 2013. The storm is set to bring gusts of 80 miles an hour from Saturday night and could be causing widespread disruption during Sunday. 4 people died and around 600 homes, or rather 600,000 homes, were left without power in the St Jude Day storm of October 2013. Full weather update to come in moments here at LBC News. To take us there, Dame Karen Pierce has been appointed as Britain's ambassador to the United States. The first woman to hold the role, she replaces Kim Darroch, who resigned last year after leaked private memos revealed he had called President Trump inept and insecure. Every child in England will get the chance to learn how to ride a bike. The government's added 400,000 more places to its Bikeability programme, which trains the them to ride safely on the roads. Ahead in football, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp has been named Premier League Manager of the Month for January. His side won all of their games. It's the 5th time he's won it this season, which is now a new record. As I say, more to come in the sport. More on that one from Jurgen Klopp. Also more on the weather as well. Just how bad is it going to hit your part of the UK? We'll do that inside 60 seconds.
LBC News.
Hello? Sarah, Witchton Wolf. I understand a tenant was complaining about a problem at one of your properties. So we paid them a visit and, you won't be hearing from them again.
What?
Direct Line dealt with the problem, Sarah. You bought landlord emergency with your policy, and they sent someone around in 4 hours. Perfect.
Electrician, plumber, glazier, locksmith emergency response within 4 hours. Can your landlord insurance do that? Search Direct Line, Landlord Emergency. Optional add-on. Excludes Scottish Highlands and Islands. Extreme weather conditions may extend response time. Residential properties only. Underwritten by UK Insurance Limited.
At the Cooperative Bank, we're driven by something different. Because we've always believed that doing good and doing good business should go together. Which is why we've had a customer-led ethical policy for over 25 years. Putting your values at the heart of what we do and campaigning for what you think is right. Ethical then, ethical now. We're the original ethical bank. The Cooperative Bank. For people with purpose. Join us.
LBC News. Latest travel, next.
At Morrison's, we're cutting the price of our food-to-go meal deal from £3.50 to £3. Choose a main, drink and snack. There's hundreds of choices, from freshly made baguette to a create-your-own salad box or our vegan Caesar wrap. Morrison's, we're cutting prices.
Majority of stores subject to availability. Was £3.50. Offer excludes online in the best range. Medium salad box.
LBC News. Travel.
In London, in Wanstead, the Eastern Avenue is queuing for 3 miles heading northbound from the Lee interchange towards the George Green Tunnel. That's after an accident. And the M25, that continues to struggle on the clockwise side from junction 18 at Chorleywood all the way around to the A41. That's after a car breakdown. The M4 in Berkshire is struggling for 2 miles, heading westbound from junction 13 at Newbury. That's after an accident. And the M6 in Staffordshire, that stays closed northbound between junction 14 at Stafford North and 15 at Stoke-on-Trent. There's been a serious accident there, so it is queuing at the moment just past junction 13 at Stafford South. I'm Emma Bussey. Your next update is in 10 minutes here on LBC News.
LBC News. Weather.
Windy tonight with rain moving eastwards across the UK and some clearer skies following. Some blustery showers developing in the northwest with a low of 1. There'll be more sunny spells for eastern and central areas tomorrow with a high of 11. Things will gradually turn wet and very windy from the northwest as Storm Kira arrives with severe gales developing. The winds and rain could cause widespread disruption during Sunday. It's also set to stay windy into the first part of next week, but it will turn colder with wintry showers.
Alex Taylor with the weather update at LBC News. Will keep you abreast of the latest happenings with Storm Kira as we go through the afternoon and certainly during the course of the weekend as well. Meant to be hitting Saturday night into Sunday as well. Ahead, the sports update. This is Philip Chrysakos. The City first. FTSE 100 ahead of its close, trading down 49 points, 74.55. The markets. The pound buys $1.29 and €1.18. Well, the rest of this Friday afternoon's business headlines. Charlotte Lynch.
Drivers on part of the London Underground are going on strike, claiming intolerable levels of stress. They'll walk out for 24 hours from midday on Friday the 21st and Sunday the 23rd of February. It's in a row over timetable changes on the Bakerloo line. Transport for London say that they hope to continue talks with the RMT union. Around 15 million people could be about to save money on their energy bills. Ofgems announced it will lower the annual price cap by £17 in April, limiting the amount that providers can charge. The regulator's been under pressure to control price increases from Parliament. First-time buyers could save around £100,000 under plans being consulted on by the government. The scheme would cut the cost of new homes by 30%. Key workers like nurses, police officers and firefighters are expected to be prioritised, but ministers insist it is open to everyone. The High Street saw its strongest month in 6 years in January. A tracker has reported a 5.7% increase in like-for-like in-store sales across the UK. The three major retail categories, lifestyle, fashion and homeware, all reported growth for the first time in 2 years. It follows heavy discounting and December's general election. Under studies found demand for workers is increasing. Vacancies have risen at the quickest rate for 10 months following reports of growing confidence. But the Recruitment and Employment Confederation says the take-up of temporary staff fell slightly last month for the first time in 7 years.
And we'll get more on that energy price cap that Charlotte Lynch was mentioning there in about 15 minutes' time in our next update in the business headlines. You're with the station where the news never stops.
LBC News.
Where James Hoxie has the sports.
Despite officially being crowned the world's best player, Pep Guardiola hopes Lionel Messi doesn't become available at the end of the season. He's actually out of contract this summer, which has led to speculation about whether he could join Man City.
He's playing from Barcelona, he will stay there. That is my wish. Stay in Barcelona, so I think he's going to finish his career there.
After learning they'll be relegated from the Rugby Union Premiership because of salary cap breaches, title holders Saracens might now have to exit the European Champions Cup as well. It's emerged that they may have fielded an ineligible player in their win over French team Racing last month. A subsequent points deduction could mean they miss out on a quarter-final place. England player Joe Launchbury is ready to make his return from injury in tomorrow's clash with Scotland in Rugby Union's Six Nations. The Wasps' captain missed last weekend's defeat against France, but is back in the squad, replacing Charlie Ewells. British boxer Kell Brooks weighed in successfully ahead of his return to the ring. His first fight in more than a year is in his hometown of Sheffield tomorrow night against American Mark DeLuca, and he says he will try to enjoy it.
It's probably going to be the last time I'm going to be fighting in Sheffield, at the arena, so I'm going to take a moment for myself, look round, absorb it all, the fans, I'm in my city of Sheffield, and just go out there and do what I do.
And Troy Parrott signed a new contract with Spurs, keeping him at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium until 2023. The highly rated 18-year-old's made 2 first-team appearances this season.
It's 16 minutes past 4.
This is LBC News.
And you're with Philip Chrysakos. Thank you for your company. Let's turn our attentions to this story. A teenager from Ealing in West London who threw a 6-year-old boy from the 10th floor of the Tate Modern Gallery in London reportedly told carers of his intentions a year earlier. Following this story for LBC News is our correspondent Rachel Venables.
Well, this little boy was left with some horrific injuries after the attack last summer. He was only in London with his family for a visit. They are French and they'd taken a trip to the Tate Modern Gallery and were up on the 10th floor where there's a large viewing platform. It looks out over the Thames and across the city. And that's when Jonty Bravery, who'd been spotted wandering around the area for a while, picked this little boy up and threw him over the ledge. Now, miraculously, he survived, landing on a roof that was 5 floors down, suffering still a bleed to the brain, fractures to his spine and broken arms and legs as well following that fall. He is now recovering in France. Apparently, he's starting to speak as well. That happened just before Christmas. But obviously, a horrific set of injuries for him, and his family really have struggled ever since. Well, now a recording has emerged from autumn 2018, so the previous year, and it has come out from a joint investigation by the BBC and the Daily Mail, and it is allegedly off Jonty Bravery telling his carers of a plan to kill someone. Now, at the time of the attack, Bravery, who has autism, was in the care of Hammersmith and Fulham Council. He was living in a flat in Northolt, West London, with round-the-clock care. And just to warn you, before I play this clip, the detail in this recording is pretty distressing.
I want to one day meet up with my dad. It could just be a friend. It could be anyone, but I'm just saying specifically who I've got in my head. And then go out for the day casually and just go out to central London just for the day out, just as if we're having a normal day. And then go and visit some of the landmarks. It could be the Shard, it could be anything. It could be, as long as it's a high thing, and we could go up and visit it. And then push somebody off it, and I know for a fact they'll die from falling from 100 feet. There. Are you happy now?
Well, his care provider, Spencer and Arlington, said in response that there was no record of this disclosure. The company, though, also said it recognised the gravity of the claim and has reported the concerns to the Care Quality Commission. So we can, of course, expect an investigation. Meanwhile, Bravery, who is now 18, has admitted attempted murder and is due to be sentenced later this month.
Rachel Venables' report bringing the time to 19 minutes past 4. Good afternoon. This is Philip Chrysakos. Ahead, the latest breaking developing news stories, including more on a British man on his honeymoon among 61 cruise ship passengers who've been diagnosed with coronavirus and a GP given 3 life sentences for sexually assaulting 24 female patients in East London.
This is LBC News.